Good morning. Okay, so we're going to learn something new today, and these are called the properties of addition and multiplication. So the properties that we're going to learn are the identity property, the commutative property, the associative property, and the zero property. Now, I know it looks like there's a lot of information on the screen and it might look kind of confusing. The concept is actually super simple. So if we go back up to the first one called the identity property, as you can see, the definition of that simply says the number doesn't change even after adding or multiplying. So if we look at the first example, if we add 0 to 6, our answer is 6. If we subtract 0 from 21, our answer is 21. The identity property of multiplication says simply when you multiply any number times 1, your answer is the same number that you started with. So notice in all of these 4 examples, the number that we start with is the same as the answer. So the identity property says the answer is going to be the same as the original number. So for adding, that's when you add or subtract 0. For multiplying, that's when you multiply by 1. The commutative property says the order doesn't matter. All it means is something, for example, 3 times 4 is 12, and 4 times 3 is 12. The order in which you multiply numbers doesn't matter. The answer will always be the same. Okay, so these 2 words should have been switched. This should have been multiplication on the left and addition on the right. So 17 plus 4 equals 21, or if you simply change the order of the numbers, 4 plus 17 is also 21. So the commutative property says when you add or multiply numbers, the answer will always be the same regardless of the order in which you added or multiplied. The only difference between the commutative property that we just learned and the associative property is that now we have 3 numbers. So this definition says the grouping of the addends doesn't matter. So if we're going to add 5 plus 7, we get 12. And then we can add 2. Our answer would be 14. Or I could add the 7 plus the 2 first. That's 9. And then I could add 5 to that. So 9 plus 5 is also 14. So regardless if you add 5 plus 7 plus 2 or 7 plus 2 plus 5, the answer is going to be the same both times. The associative property of multiplication is the same concept. The order in which you multiply numbers doesn't matter. So on the left here, we could do 5 times 6 to get 30, and then multiply 30 times 2, which is 60. Or on the right side, I could do 6 times 2 to get 12, and then multiply 12 times 5, and I would also get 60. So it doesn't matter if I do 5 times 6 times 2 or 6 times 2 times 5. The answer will be the same every time. All right, so let's see if we can name that property. Which is it? So looking at the first example, we've got 10 plus 8 equals 8 plus 10. 10 plus 8 equals 8 plus 10. Well, that looks a lot like the commutative property. The order of the numbers doesn't matter. So number 1 is commutative. Make sure you're writing all this into your notes page for me. Number 2, 16 plus 0 equals 16. Remember the very first one we talked about was that property that says the number of your answer is going to be the same number that we started with. So going back up to the very top, that's the identity property of addition. Identity property. So on our line, we are going to write identity. Next property. So I see on the left I have 3 numbers And on the right, I have 3 numbers, but they're being added in a different order. So if we go back up to our examples, that is just like this example right here. That was the associative property. All right, number 4. When you multiply anything times 0, the answer will be 0. Oh, I think we forgot to talk about the last one. Sorry about that. 0 property, answer is always 0. When you multiply any number times 0, the answer is 0. So that one is simply called the 0 property. Now, this one's a little bit different. Look at number 5. Number 5, I'm starting with 4x, and my answer is 4x. Remember, when you add 0 to any number, the answer is going to be the same as what you started with. So going back up to the very top, that's like this one right here. 6 plus 0 equals 6. 4x plus 0 equals 4x. So that one is the identity property. All right, last one. I've got 3 numbers. We're adding a plus 2 plus 7 on the left. On the right, we're adding 2 plus 7 plus a. So I'm going to look for a similar example to that. And again, that one is right here, the associative property of addition. The order in which you add 3 or more numbers doesn't matter. The answer will be the same every time. So for that one, we're going to write, whoops, let me find my black pen, associative. Okay, so that was the lesson that was taught in class today, and then you are going to upload worksheet 13 and go ahead and practice that one for me.